Hello friends and welcome back to Picture Astrology. Today we will see an extraordinary horoscope. A person born in great riches, highly educated, who spent most of his life or almost all of his life in the corridors of power, very well respected across the spectrum of political class of world's largest democracy, that is India, occupied some of the top ministries for more than a decade. Finance Minister, Home Minister of India for more than 10 to 12 years. But now, at the age of 74, he is in jail and looking for prospects of an extended jail term because of financial frauds committed under his watch, allegedly to help his own son. We'll look at the chart of Mr. P Chidambaram, who was India's finance minister or home minister until 5 years ago. So, from the available data, P Chidambaram was born on September 16, 1945 in the state of Tamil Nadu in India. And with this data, this is the horoscope we get. So I put in the ascendant horoscope as well as the moon rising horoscope, because moon sign ascendant is equally, if not more important in many cases. So before we begin analysis, let's first see whether this is the right horoscope or not. So the first thing is checking the horoscope's accuracy, and that can be done in many ways. One of the thing is by looking at the past events. Can you just look at the horoscope and see what kind of person or what kind of life this horoscope should have led? And as soon as I see this horoscope, there are 2-3 things which comes into the mind. Number one is that the person must have a great maternal family or mother side family. Mother's fathers, mother's brothers, they should be in a very good position in life. And the reason for that is, number one, Mercury, which is the significator of maternal family. It signifies your mother's brothers, mother's sisters, and even your maternal grandparents along with Ketu. So first and sixth house in which Mercury is placed, it is the house of your maternal family. It is third from the fourth, which shows the brothers and sisters or family of your mom. So Mercury, the Karaka itself, is placed here, and it is relatively very well placed. It is in a sign of Leo, which is a royal sign, and there is no affliction at all to this. Second, the lord of this house, Sun, is placed in a Kendra house with Jupiter, and Jupiter and Sun are great friends. And Jupiter in this case is a great benefic. It is naturally a benefic planet, as well as it is the lord of the ascendant. And this combination has an aspect of a very friendly and positive planet Mars. So just, the very first thought was that this horoscope should have a great maternal family. And when I checked, I found that Mr. P Chidambaram, his maternal grandfather, was actually a royal person. He was conferred the designation of king by the British rulers of India. So he was born in 1945. It was the time when India was still under the occupation of British forces, and his maternal grandfather was actually almost a ruler of a princely state. And his mother side family actually owned and started many banks in India, the financial institutes, and even universities. So this first assumption or first interpretation of mine was very true. So this indicates probably that the horoscope is right, but I thought, well, let's look at one or two more aspects also. So the second thing which immediately comes into mind when you look at this horoscope and I would not go into the exact details of this, is that father of the person should also be doing very well in life, maybe a big businessman, but the son or this horoscope will not go into the same business as the father. He would, this horoscope is a horoscope of a very successful person, or at least a person who has done many things in life. And the reason is the cardinal houses. You see 4, 7 and 10. These three houses have the majority of planets. So whenever the cardinal houses have majority of the planets, or at least some planets, then the person leads a very eventful life. The life cannot be dull, or it cannot be simpleton, or it cannot follow the one path. So the life of P Chidambaram has been very active. He has done many things in life. His father was a big businessman, and from the time of British rule of India, he owned many businesses in variety of different sectors. But Mr. P Chidambaram chose to become a lawyer and not just continue the business or family business of his father. And he made his name in the field of politics. He became one of the topmost politicians of India. So the thing which horoscope tells me, that the person's father would be very well placed, but the son or this horoscope would not exactly do just, it's not a horoscope which says that, okay, father is a businessman and son will become a bigger businessman. No, this horoscope says that the father is a businessman, son will also be, do great in life, but he will not just follow the path of his father, but he will do something on his own. And that is also true in this horoscope. Other thing which you can easily see is that the person would be highly learned, very intelligent, who would have many formal degrees. You have Jupiter, the Lord of Ascendant, right here aspecting directly, which clearly shows that. And all these things are true. So we can very confidently say that this horoscope belongs to Mr. P Chidambaram's. Now we'll see the reason why he suddenly had a downfall in life and have to undergo or go into jail. So why such a big downfall from a life of almost like a king directly into the jail cell? What caused this? Now, I very recently made a video about Ranu Mondal, who actually has an opposite story. It was a story of rags to riches. She was singing on a railway platform. She was almost like a beggar. And suddenly her singing talent was spotted by some people. Her videos went viral and she started singing for Hindi movie industry, Bollywood. And suddenly her life changed from rags to riches. And in that video, when I was explaining what happened, what caused this, the basic argument I made was Saturn Venus time period was responsible for her sudden rise. And I did say that whenever you have Saturn Venus or Venus Saturn Dasha or Antardasha, it could be Saturn Saturn Venus or Venus Saturn, any combination of Saturn and Venus, just these two planets, then that time period in most of the cases is never uneventful. It always brings some or the other extreme happening can happen if that is promised in the horoscope. Now I am happy to say that the same sequence of Dasha Saturn Venus has caused the big downfall of Mr. P Chidambaram. So he actually was jailed in his Saturn Venus and Rahu Dasha. So Mahadasha of Saturn, Antardasha of Venus, and the Pratyantar Dasha or the third level Dasha of Rahu. But the key is again the same combination of Saturn Venus, which made somebody from rags to riches has actually made another guy from riches to rags. And the reason being, this horoscope of P Chidambaram is obviously very strong, but there are definitely some of those negative points. One of them, the biggest one, being the accumulation of three malefics in the fourth house. Saturn, Mars and Rahu, three malefic planets in the fourth house with an aspect of moon directly. Now, we can definitely argue that Mars is a functional benefic because it is the lord of second house and ninth house, and that is correct. This Mars has given great life, great properties, big houses to Mr. P Chidambaram. This has also given him ability to think logically. He is a lawyer, he is a PhD. He has knowledge of actually many things. He did an MBA from foreign universities and then became a lawyer and became a very successful lawyer. So Mars being lord of ninth house, which is the house of higher education, that being placed in fourth house actually gave him great education. He was a big reformer. As finance minister of India, he is supposed to have produced one of the most admirable budgets in the history of independent India. That kind of radical thing will also happen when Mars is lord of some of the great houses in the fourth house. But the Saturn and Rahu combination is a very negative combination. And as we discussed in the Ranu Mandal horoscope also, that Venus and Saturn, they give their full effect in each other's dasha antardasha. And something of similar sort happened with Mr. Chidambaram as well. So when Saturn and Venus dasha started, and also the transits, the transiting Saturn and Jupiter were also not favorable. So at the time of him going into jail, Saturn was transiting here in the sign of Scorpio, which is causing a big time sadesati. So when Saturn and Venus dasha started, it gave a fertile ground for his negative karma to come to the fore, and the transit of Saturn actually catapulted that, and he currently ends up in jail waiting for bail in multiple cases. And looking at the sequence of dasha and sequence of transit coming forward, his life further seems to be very difficult. Saturn Venus is not going to end very soon, and the coming dashas also does not augur very well, but just the Saturn Venus period is going to continue up to 2021, and during that time these transits of Saturn is going to be again very adverse. So this combinations basically says that his life ahead, the last part of his life, is likely to be one of the very difficult ones. And this also shows that Saturn, the image of Saturn as the biggest adjudicator of good and bad, is very much intact. Saturn will give you the effects or the fall of karmas or any bad karma you do in your life. Saturn is the judge of that. So my dear friends, I hope you liked this analysis of Mr. P Chidambaram's horoscope and why he landed up in jail currently. Please do subscribe to my channel for more such interesting videos, and see you again soon. Bye bye.